Hi, I'm Reverend Katey Zeh, Interim CEO of the Religious Coalition for Reproductive Choice. I'm recording this on May 1st, which for my family marks 7 weeks of shelter in place. And while on the one hand, it feels like we've been doing this for forever, on the other, it feels like it's just been a moment. It's such an interesting thing about time. And I've been reflecting on how I've noticed that some of the extremes I was feeling at the beginning of all of this, just the extreme despair and the extreme hopefulness I was feeling and kind of going back and forth, within a matter of minutes sometimes. That's evened out a bit for me, and I wouldn't say that I've necessarily adapted to this uncertain time, but I think I'm learning how to cope with it and how to appreciate the extremes for what they are. Because without one, we don't really feel the other. And I'll give you an example of that. Early on in this, unrelated to COVID, a good friend of mine and her son died in a boating accident. Just out of nowhere. And it stunned me to receive that news because I was preparing myself for people getting sick, but I wasn't preparing myself. How could any of us prepare ourselves for a tragedy like that? And so I went to this really, really dark place of grief and mourning and despair and wondering why this had happened. And without the distractions of my normal life, I really felt it. And like all things, it has lessened over time. But then a few weeks later, when I was watching my 5-year-old daughter learn how to ride her bike without training wheels, a huge milestone in our lives, and I was watching her joy and her confidence and her pride in herself, I felt this extreme joy that I don't know I would have felt or appreciated as much had I not been in that place of grief a few weeks before. And so I offer that because I think in the midst of tough times, it can be so hard to believe that there will be an end to it. But what I've learned over the last 7 weeks, or been reminded of over the last 7 weeks, is that change is the only constant. And even when it feels like the pain will never end, I know that it will. And there will be joy beyond my comprehension in that moment on the other side. So I hope that no matter where you are, that joy is on the other side in a way that maybe you can't see right now, but is inevitably coming to all of us soon.